welcome to T2T Boxing in association with Boxer and IFL TV. Here with me I have Austin No Doubt Trout on the phone. Thanks for joining us, Austin.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
So a fight with Anthony Mundine. It's been in the makings for a little while now, on and off, and I know there's a bit of history between you two. Talk me through, sort of, from your side, why you wanted this fight and you know, what it means for yourself moving forwards.
Well, after the last fight, I was ranked in the top 10 in the WBC and WBA and IBF, and also WBO. And so we looked and said, how can we get to the belt faster? We just seen that Mundine took that silver title and got the #1 spot. Then my team reached out to the fight that we made, and they finally agreed.
Excellent. And so you mentioned it's for the WBC Silver Title. So looking up the rankings, I mean, you've got Lara and Canelo up there as well. So maybe a fight with those might be further down the line for the title if Mayweather decides to let it go. Out of those two, who would you like to face again? Who would you like to go up against? Say, looking past Mundine at this point.
Definitely both of them. I would love to get Canelo back in my rematch, and I would love to get Lara back in the rematch. I understand that I need to work my way back up to those guys, but that's what I plan on doing, and getting that #1 ranking could help me get back to those rematches.
Definitely, and being in front of that Texas crowd again, being in front of your home crowd, what does that mean to you coming into this fight?
Well, the Texas crowd wasn't necessarily my home crowd, even though that's where I was born. The last time I fought in Texas was against Canelo, where I was not definitely the hometown guy. So, I'm just happy to be back in the ring. It doesn't matter where it is.
Excellent. And so between you and Mundine, I know the fight's been talked about in the past, and then it wasn't made, and then obviously it's come back up now. And there's been a few words between you two on Twitter and social media. What are your thoughts on Mundine and how he fights and as a personality? Is he someone that you've come across much in the States?
No, nobody talks about him over here. He's a star over there. He's a good fighter. We can't take that away from him. We know he's a good fighter. He's been around the block, 2-time world champ. And as far as the fighting goes, he's good, but I'm better, and I'm gonna prove that May 9th. So I'm looking forward to make that proof. As a person, I think he does a lot of talking because he's a very insecure person, to be honest. So, all that talking just shows me he's not very super confident in his abilities matching up to mine.
Okay, excellent. And looking at the fight, and how do you see the fight going? You've obviously come from a long sort of amateur background. He's come from, say, a different sport and moved across. Do you see that playing part of the fight?
My amateur background definitely going to play a part. From what I watch and all the film that I watch, is I see that he doesn't like to fade in the later round. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He seems to fade. So I only get strong as the rounds go on. So we're going to see if that works to my advantage May 9th.
Excellent. And you've faced off against one of Mundine's former opponents, and probably your biggest win to date with Miguel Cotto. He fights Daniel Gill, another Australian, in June in New York. What are your thoughts on that fight? I know it's a weight above where you're fighting at the moment, but obviously a big fight as far as the American-Australian relationships go.
Yeah, well, Mundine never fought Cotto, right? I don't remember. No, Mundine never fought Cotto.
No, he's fought Gill a couple of times though.
Huh?
He's fought Daniel Gill a couple of times.
Oh, Daniel Gill, that's right. I think that's a very interesting fight. It's gonna show if Cotto can transfer his power into the middleweight division, like he did against Martinez. But Martinez was very flawed and he was actually hurt. So we're gonna see if he really does belong in the middleweight division.
What's
I think it's a great fight that Daniel Gill can win. It's a very winnable fight for Gill.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been thinking here as well. And yeah, like I say, interesting to see if Cotto transfers up to the higher weights. And how do you feel Cotto ranked in terms of power compared to, say, Canelo and Lara? How would you say he ranks there?
I don't know, man. He as much as those guys did. I never got caught clean. I'm sure he's very strong if he catches you flush. But Canelo and Lara, they caught me clean. So I would say they're stronger, but that's not a fair judgment because again, Cotto didn't catch me clean.
Yeah, perfect. And with this fight going out on the Premier Boxing Champions, we've seen a few of those rolled out so far. What are your thoughts on what that does for the sport, having boxing on free-to-air TV again?
Well, I think it's great for the sport, and hopefully in Australia somehow they can get you guys some free boxing soon. But it's wonderful. Every time I tell people, the network I'm on and when I'm fighting, the one thing that I hear, especially from the little older heads is, I used to watch boxing Saturday afternoons with my pops. That used to be our thing every Saturday. So to be able to be a part of that is going to be wonderful. To be part of some kids' memories, 10 to 15 years from now.
Absolutely, and it gives you a chance to become that household name just outside of the core boxing fans, I suppose. So, put in a good performance. We saw it with Thurman and Guerrero. I think both of them are going to be back in front of the TV cameras soon enough because of the fight that they put on. So, definitely an opportunity to put yourselves in the window. And looking forwards and looking past this fight, mentioned sort of Canelo and Lara and fighting for the WBC title. But what's your long-term goals in the sport? Where do you see yourself going in the next sort of 18, 24 months?
Well, first I want to get my title back. I would like to avenge my losses. I would like to, be unified champion. So, those are my goals in the next 2 years. Hopefully I can get a belt, avenge my losses, and get some more belts.
Perfect, excellent. And just finally, before you go, Austin, a big fight that's you've probably been asked about 100 times, but Mayweather Pacquiao next week. What side of the fence are you falling, and how do you see that fight going?
Well, yeah, I'm going with Money May. I always rock with the American fighter. I like Manny Pacquiao. I like how he represents himself and represents the sport. Don't get me wrong, but Mayweather is the best in my generation. I would love to see him go out on top as undefeated. Say I was there to witness this type of legacy that he's built.
Absolutely, yeah. So certainly one that we'll all be watching, and I'm sure you'll have one eye on it, even though, say, it'll be a week before your showdown. But look, we'll wish you all the best. Thanks a lot for joining us, Austin. So we'll maybe try and catch up with you after the fight and see how things go, and we'll chat then.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Austin. Really appreciate that. Cheers, man.